Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to deploy and use this custom playbook for running Promptbook and getting the results by email, Security Copilot Promptbooks. Okay, so you just go on the page where the template of the Logic app is deployed, and you can use the deployment button to start the deployment. First of all, you will be asked to specify a resource group. I'm going to create a new one. Now you can ignore all those parameters. All of them can be changed after in the parameters of the Logic app, which will be created. I will show you later. Okay, so we just can go ahead and start the creation process. Great. The Logic app has been created. Let's go. Let's find it here. Perfect. Now we have to follow these 6 post-deployment actions which are described in this page of the GitHub. Let me proceed in that direction. So first of all, you have to go on the API connections and authenticate to Security Copilot. Okay, so let me authenticate here. Do not forget to save. It's very important because it's quite common to forget this step. Great. Same for Office 365. Office 365 is used to send the email. Okay, so let's go. Save once again. Perfect. This is done. Now let's go on the designer. The very first action that you have to do is to go on the action which is the call to the Security Copilot prompt book and select a prompt book. In my example, I want to show you how to use, for example, this prompt book here, which is a standard prompt book, which includes 7 prompts. Okay, so we are going to run this from the Logic app. So let me go here and let me select this one, and I will be asked to have an MDTI, Defender Threat Intelligence article name. I have one which can be used. For example, this one can be interesting. Okay, and this is done. Now let's go on the parameters page, parameters list of the playbook. Here you have exactly the same parameters that were shown on the template page. You can safely ignore the first 3 parameters unless you want to change the HTML structure of the email. Here you have the HTML header, the footer, and the generic row of the body. You have a couple of placeholders here, and you have a placeholder also here. Okay. Apart from that, you typically will not change this, but you have to specify an email title, a subject, and the recipients. So in this case, for example, let me specify as email title that I want to do TI investigation. And let me add also the article. Same on the subject. The subject is the subject of the email. The title is within the body of the email. And as a recipient, let me add my own email address. Okay. And here you can, if you want to skip the responses to some of the prompts which are included in the prompt book. For example, let's imagine that you do not want in the email to have the responses of the prompt 2 and 3. It's enough here to write in this array of integer 2 and 3. But in my case, I want all of them, so I can leave it like this. Basically, I'm ready. I can, if I want, I can add something also as a suffix to the email, but in this case, it has no sense. So I'm ready. I can save. Now it's time to go on the overview page and enable. Considering that this logic app has the trigger of type recurrence, just doing enable will start the first execution. So in a moment, we see that the logic app has started, and we can see how it proceeds. Now it is invoking the prompt book on Copilot. We can also follow the execution here. Here I am in Copilot, my sessions, yes. And as you can see, the logic app has invoked the prompt book, and now the execution is going through. Okay, let's leave it. And now let's do something different. I want to show you how you can use the same logic app to do something completely different. For example, start from a Sentinel incident and do an investigation and send the output of the investigation by email. I just have to clone this logic app, or I can start from scratch, of course, starting with a new deployment, but I can easily clone it and do, for example, Sentinel investigation, incident investigation, okay. And I create it disable so that it will not start automatically when it's created. It will be created in the same resource group, which is send prompt book results by mail. In this case, I have to consider this for the authorization on Sentinel. Perfect. It looks that the logic app the clone has been created. Let me go in Azure and search for the logic app just created. Okay, Sentinel incident investigation. Here we have it. Perfect. It has not started because it's disabled. Let me go. In this case, the logic app, the API connections to send to Office 365 and Security Copilot are already in place. I do not have to change them, but I have to go here and completely change the structure of my logic app at the beginning, because I have to remove the recurrence trigger and instead select Sentinel trigger. Yes, okay, Microsoft Sentinel incident. Perfect. Now I have to authenticate to Sentinel first time. Perfect. This part was done. Now let's go here on this action, which calls a new prompt book, and I have to select a different one. In this case, I want to select Microsoft Sentinel Incident Investigation, which, by the way, I can find it here. Is this one. Microsoft Sentinel Incident Investigation is this one. Okay, and it asks for an incident ID. So let me go here. No, sorry. Let me go here and specify an incident ID. In this case, it will be specified dynamically. I have to select my trigger, show more. I want to get the incident ARM ID. That's perfect. Now let me go on the parameters and change something here, because this is not a TI investigation, this is an incident investigation. And this is not meaningful in this case because it's a specific incident investigation, but I cannot add dynamically on the parameters. So I will do it later on the email in this case. So let me do it here. Okay, perfect. Recipient side will not change, no problem. Now let me close this one because I want to go just at the end, and for the sake of clarity, I want to go in the subject and add the incident ID because it will be interesting to have it. So just let me go here and taking the incident, Sentinel incident, And once again, the incident arm ID. Perfect. Let me save it. I'm ready. I can now enable the logic app, and I can go to Sentinel. Could use the direct button, but I'm going like this. Perfect. Now I have to double check if the resource group has on the resource group where the logic app was stored, Sentinel has the correct permissions. That resource group, I have to search for it here in settings, and then settings once again, and then playbook permissions. And here I have to find the specific resource group. And the resource group name was send Promptbook resource by email, this one. Okay. So it is in current permission. No, it is not in the current permission. So I have to assign permission, apply. The effect of this action may take a while. Now it's here. I can see it. It's here, but it may take a while. So it's worth to wait for 1 minute or something like this. Let me go now on my incident pages. Let me take one incident. Sorry, this is just a lab, so they are not really meaningful. Actions, run playbook. Here we have just created the logic app in the resource group where Sentinel has been authorized, and I can hit run. Hopefully the permissions are already in place. Otherwise I will get an error. Yes. This means that if I go back here, I will see the investigation running. And if I go here, I will see that the playbook has been called, the prompt book, sorry, has been called. And if I go here in my sessions, in my session in Security Copilot, I see that the Logic App Microsoft Sentinel Incident Investigation has called the prompt book, which is just starting. Perfect. So in a while, I will receive the emails from this. Okay, I have interrupted the recording just to wait for those 2 emails to arrive, and finally I can show you the result. At the same time I also completed additional tests. So this was the first one. The first email arrived related to threat intelligence investigation on a threat article, on a threat intelligence article from Defender Threat Intelligence. And here you see each prompt and the following answer, the response from the system. And for example, using threat intelligence showed impacted assets of my organization. In this case, of course, my lab environment is almost empty, so there is nothing impacted. And finally, show me the incident. I do not have incident related to this specific threat. Let me show you the incident investigation made on Sentinel. In this case, summarize the Sentinel incident. I have the summary of this incident read on Sentinel. The second prompt was not successful for some reason I have not investigated, but I get a try rewarding your prompt in this case. Now the following prompts: what are the reputation score? I get the response, what showed the authentication method for the users, and so on. And I get all the response and the summary, the final summary, which is quite interesting, powerful, I believe. I want to show you additional prompts that prompt book that I launched from my Logic app. For example, CVE investigation. I specified a CVE So the CV investigation is just a vulnerability impact assessment, this one, okay? So let me go back and summarize that CVE, and I get the summary, identify threat intelligence article, in this case no relevant threat intelligence was found, what are mitigations can I put in place, and there is this summary, and then finally an executive summary. Nice formatted email. Now, user investigation. In this case, I was using another one, which is this one, new prompt book released by Microsoft User Analysis with 8 prompts, okay? And the result was this, user investigation for one of my test users, what devices are associated with that user, show me the login, the last login, what authentication method are set up, did that user have failed, etc. And again, threat actor, for example, Manatee Tempest, threat actor investigation, that is that specific threat actor profile, this one. So in this case, I asked for a threat actor profile. The threat actor is Manatee Tempest, and I get all those details for each of the prompts that I submit with a file, with a nice formatted result. And the last one that I can show you is what happens when there is no capacity available. In this case, you get just an error. You can get it from the beginning because, for example, here I have Copilot is no longer available due to issues calculating the available capacity because I was deleting the capacity. Or you can have it in the following prompts, not just at the beginning. Finally, I want to show you final evidence here on how the flow happens during the execution. So you can go on the history. For example, this one was the Defender Threat Intelligence Incident Investigation. Here you see that this was the call to the Security Copilot prompt book. In this case, I am analyzing here the status code. In this case, the status code was successful. And for each of the prompts and related response, what I'm doing here is I check if I have to skip that prompt because of the configuration array with the list of indexes of the prompts that I have to skip. If I do not have to skip that prompt, I evaluate the result of that specific prompt in the prompt book. And if I find in that response characters related to markdown language, which is used by Security Copilot, then I call again Security Copilot to have that converted from markdown to HTML. And then I parse once again the response, because at that point I may have wrong responses. If the response is successful, then I append the result and create the HTML table. Otherwise, in any case, I arrive here and end up append here. I append that row related to the response to the table, and finally I append the footer and send the email. This is the execution. So I hope that this video and this template of Logic App can be helpful for you. And thank you for your attention. Goodbye.